You're my child. I have the right to poison you. I'm allergic to fish and seafood. It's not the anaphylactic type of allergy, thank goodness, so I'm not going to die if I eat some, but I do throw up. I have a stomachache and a massive headache for a few hours. Enough fish and or seafood and I break out in small red hives all over my arms. My mother didn't believe it, and as a child, I couldn't stand up to her properly. She'd force me to eat stuff with seafood or fish in it to prove I wasn't allergic, then ignore me as I was sick. One day, she held a dinner party. I was dressed up beautifully and trotted out to parade before the guests. At the time, I was around about 9, precocious for my age and absolutely fed up with my mother making me sick. When she held out a fish cutlet, fish cooked with vegetables rolled into a ball, covered in batter and fried for me to eat, I saw my chance. Me, loudly, I can't eat that. I'm allergic to fish. Mother, no you're not, eat it. I am allergic, I'll throw it up. No Asian mother will back down in front of guests for fear of looking like she can't discipline her child. My mother grabbed the fish cutlet, shoved it into my mouth, and said in her most firm voice of command, eat. So I ate it. Cut to about 10 minutes later. I go up to my mother and tug on her, is it a sorry? To get her attention. Me, I don't feel well, and you know the rest. I vomited on her, on the expensive carpet and in full view of all the guests. My mother has a reputation for being a kind, generous, charitable, and very religious woman. So in front of all the guests, she couldn't do anything except act sympathetic and send me off to bed to recover. She never made me eat fish or seafood again. It sucks that that's what you had to do to get her to stop being an incredibly irresponsible and dangerous parent. She got what was coming to her. I don't understand why people can't wrap their head around others having allergies. Well, she did learn her lesson, I hope. I'm lactose intolerant. My grandma refused to believe it was a real condition and forced me to drink milk as a kid. I'd get horrible stomach aches, lots of gas, etc. She'd then blame whatever she thought was causing it. Candy, computer games, whatever, and just keep repeating how I have to drink it so my bones grow properly. It's like there weren't any other ways to get calcium than an overdose of milk. Remember Got Milk? Isn't the scientific backing for that, like, incredibly lacking or something? Like the whole milk campaign was just big milk trying to get you to buy more milk? I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but that would make sense. I find it baffling that she had a reputation for being kind if she literally forced an allergen into her child's mouth in front of company. There's some serious cognitive dissonance there. You will date my daughter or I'll get you fired. Wait, what? So for some context, I'm a 17-year-old male and I work at a Segway tour company. It's actually really fun. I get to ride Segways around the city and talk to people, and get paid to do it. Plus, the tipping isn't bad. So anyway, there was a tour booked a couple of days ago and I came in about 20 minutes early to answer emails and get everything ready. The group shows up, mother and daughter, and that's when things get interesting. I'm not going to insult your intelligence by telling you what EP and ME stand for, but D equals daughter and FBI equals Federal Bureau of Investigation, just for some useful info. EP and D come in and I check them in. Me, all right, I have some waivers for you to sign. D, how old are you? 16. Okay then, you don't need to sign a waiver. I ask this because if kids are younger than 18, their parents sign the waivers for them. But EP only heard me say the first part, not when I said D didn't need to sign a waiver. So she thought I was just asking her daughter how old she was. This was probably what started it all. We go on the tour, and while I'm giving my spiel, EP keeps interrupting me to tell me stuff about D and find if we're compatible. Me. And so this non-profit organization opened in... Are you in college? No, I'm a junior in high school. I'm usually pretty free with info about myself on tours because it helps keep people relaxed and initiates conversations during lulls in the tour. Plus it helps with tipping. Oh, D is also a junior. She's an artist. Stuff like this keeps happening throughout the tour, and every time D gets redder and redder. My mom does this too, where she just tells random mall attendants about me, so I know what D is going through and I feel her pain. At the end of the tour, I tell the two of them that they have 15 minutes to go around the town and then they can meet me back at the Segway place. I get back and start getting things set up for their return. They roll in, pardon the pun, and I take their Segways to start charging them. So what do you think of my daughter? Pardon me, what? I saw you checking her out during the tour. Are you going to ask her out? Mom, stop. Me, ma'am, I just recently got out of a relationship and I'm not really looking for anything right now. What? Huh? Is my daughter not good enough for you? No, that's not it. I just said that I just got out of a relationship. You're going to date my daughter and that's final. You can't tell me what to do. I'm not your kid, and if I don't want to date your daughter, I do not have to. Besides, you haven't even asked her if she wants to date me. Yeah, I don't want to date him. See? I'm going to call your boss and tell him about your terrible customer service. You're never going to work in this city again. Me, pulling out my phone. All right, you want to call him and explain this situation? How you're trying to force me to date your daughter and get me fired for saying no? Then I guess the absurdity of the situation finally sunk in and her face transitioned from pure rage to slight confusion. Wait, maybe I don't want to. No, let's call him. Start to go through my contacts and press my boss's name. Let's have this conversation. I don't think that's a good idea. Phone starts ringing. D, let's go. EP runs out of the door. D turns to me and says, I'm sorry, and then follows her mom. I hang up the phone before my boss answers and start cleaning the segways. I have some more stories from my work. Y'all tell me if you want to hear more. I love people that do this type of crap. Well, you're a young man. 17-year-old, technically speaking. You're not allowed to say no if someone expresses interest, which she didn't, by the way. God damn. Plot twist. OP and EP's daughter bond over the disgust of EP's behavior and start dating. No, just stop doing that. Yeah, I don't want to date him. Whoa, hold up. So did the FBI get involved at all? Yeah, actually, they busted in the windows right after and threw flashbangs. Date my daughter, now! No. Wait, that's illegal. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Proceeds to define the FBI. Yeah, that was just to get you guys really hooked. I was just waiting for the part where the FBI got involved. I'm not mad they didn't show up, just disappointed, I suppose. Daughter was 6 hours late to an interview. EM yells at me for making her cry. Hello everyone, long-time creeper on here. Never thought I'd run into an entitled mom, but here we are. So I'm 20, female. I'm a dog groomer, been one for 4, almost 5 years. The big thing is, dog grooming is reputation, quality, and time management. Yesterday, we were expecting a girl to come in at 10 to try out as a dog groomer. She was promising, 23 or 25 years old, worked as a dog groomer at other places. She didn't show up till 4:30, no call, no nothing. She apparently had a hair appointment and friends from out of town came in, so they got their nails done. She asked if she could groom now. I said no, I don't think so. When she pressed, I said I might be a jerk for saying this, but we don't need or want you. There's no need to reschedule your tryout. I went back to get my last 2 dogs done. Apparently, she cried, and I was starting to feel bad. Now, EM time. Her mom came in this morning demanding we give her a second chance. I told her, your daughter was 6.5 hours late. That's not something that works in dog grooming. She replied, she was with friends. I think someone your age would understand that. Me, not when there's a job interview. She didn't call or anything. At this point, I was ticked and over it. I have 5 dogs to get done. She said, well, there was no reason to make her cry. I said, I disagree, and got back to work. Apparently, she stayed up there and demanded we give her another shot. As head dog groomer, I said, not gonna happen. She left eventually, saying her daughter was too good for us. Yeah, I'm sorry. Her crying was not your fault. She's got to learn some responsibility at some point, like you have clearly learned, so a lesson has to be taught at some point. Unfortunately, I see my nephew in this. He thinks he deserves more than just a job. My brother asked me to get him an interview at where I work. Paid $17 an hour and advancement opportunities. Kid never showed up. Said it didn't pay enough, and he was worth more. I'll never stick my neck out for him again. Look, everybody's got to start somewhere for sure. 17 is not a bad starting point. If you're really young, you still get the chance to live at home and stuff like that. But we as a collective definitely should be earning more than that. No, it's not enough for the average person, I'd say. But for that kid, probably. Yeah, my mom would be so embarrassed if I was 6 hours late to an interview and complained about it. And I'm in my 30s. No way she'd defend my dumb ass. What a moron. And she was late because she got her hair and nails done? Car accident made her late? Sure, I might give her another chance. Hair and nails? She clearly can't be to take on the responsibility of a job. Oh, of course not. Funny, as a child from another time, my mother, upon hearing this, would have said to me, well, that's what happens when you don't take a job interview seriously. Next time, be on time. It's not even a generational thing there. That's just a normal person. My mom would have said the same thing to me if I was that stupid. Entitled Mom thinks her family's rules apply to everyone. I've been reading this sub for a while and never thought I'd have something to post, but here I am. Last week I was traveling for work. It had been a long 2 days of meetings and I was exhausted. I had just arrived at the airport from my evening cross-country flight home when I got the dreaded text from the airline saying my flight was delayed 2 hours due to mechanical problems. I decided to pass the time by getting something to eat. I found an airport restaurant and sat down to order. I ordered my food, pulled out the phone from my bag to catch up on emails and browse the web while waiting for my food to arrive. While I was waiting, a family with a mom, dad, and a little girl about 5 years old and a middle school-aged looking boy sat at a table near me. I didn't pay them much attention as I was looking at emails on my phone. But then I hear the little girl exclaim in a rather loud voice, "Look, Mom, that lady's on her phone at the table." I then hear the mother reply, yes, she shouldn't be doing that. It is rude to have a phone at the table. I glance over and the mother says to me, we have a rule that no phones are allowed at the table. My first reaction was to say something snarky as exhaustion was definitely getting to the better of me. But then I thought better of it and decided to be polite. I looked at the little girl and said, we have the same rule in my family, but since I'm here alone, I'm not being rude to anyone by looking at my phone now. At this point, the son looks like he wants to crawl under the table from embarrassment, and the dad's just trying to hand the mom a menu, and she says, it's okay, let's just order. I think that would be the end of it, but no! The mom says, obviously you have a family, so you know how important it is to follow rules. I'd appreciate it if you would put away your phone, in a tone that a parent would use on a petulant teen. The little girl chimes in and says, yeah, you have to put your phone away. My brother can't have his phone at the table, so you can't either. I look at the little girl and say in as sweet a tone as I can muster, well, the great thing about being a grown-up is that I can do whatever I want. So now I'm going to keep looking at my phone and turn back to my email. The mother sighs loudly. The teen looks even more embarrassed, and the dad, again, tries to get the mom to just order and leave me alone. The mom calls the waiter over and asks to be reseated. He grudgingly moves them to a different table. My food arrives, and I eat in peace, enjoying browsing Reddit. Edit to add here. Thanks so much to the kind people. Well, of course, what a great story. I've had my kids say similar things while out and about, and I'm the one who doesn't want to start an interaction with someone at another table. So usually I'll say something like, different people do different things. Or, well, they're an adult, so they get to do things you can't. And try to avoid making eye contact with the person in question. Then there are times when someone's breaking more social rules, like when we've been waiting in line for something for a half an hour and the kids are frustrated and some jerk cuts toward the front and the kids are like, look, that person just went right up, why can't we? And of course they're kids, so they say it loudly enough where half the other people in line can hear and turn to look. In those cases, I'll say something more like, well, not everyone follows the rules, but we do. Just because someone else acts like a bad person doesn't mean that you should too. Got their ass. I remember there was a kid at my daycare who kept trying to tell us that his mom was the boss of us, and he cried when we told him she wasn't. I imagine that's who that little girl is. Well, the great thing about being a grown-up is that I can do whatever I want. Hell yeah, this is the type of line I come up with in the shower 2 weeks later. When I go out and eat alone, I take my phone and read. It helps to eat slower. I'm used to eating fast at work due to break times. I've had people interrupt my meal to comment about my phone and how they don't allow them at the dinner table. Okay, I just look at them and stare them down for a few seconds, and if they don't get the hint, the next time they interrupt me, wow, my response is at my table, we have a rule, mind your own damn business. Okay, wow, sorry, that was just not written well, apologies. The rule in my family is not to butt into things that don't concern you. Adults should know better. Just because you have kids doesn't mean you get to set rules for other people, okay? Go yourself, Karen. EM thinks I, the delivery driver, should tip her. On mobile, so if things go wonky, my attorney is accepting calls. After never dealing with an EP in my life, I have now had 2 in the span of a few months. Normally a foul mouth, but I'll keep things clear for r/and others. Wait a minute, excuse me? For who? No one's being that nice to us over here at EmKay. No one's censoring themselves for that. Anyway, so I am a delivery driver for major food delivery company in major college town in Texas where everyone loves maroon. Normally, it's not bad. Pays pretty well, and customers are generally fine. Though you'll always have idiots in every service job. This, however, surpassed anything I'd ever experienced before. I get an order alert on my phone. Relatively simple but expensive order. We drivers love expensive orders from a restaurant nearby. In the portion for delivery instructions, the customer explains that I need to call her once I arrive, as ringing the doorbell, as I normally do, would disturb her autistic son. Okay, no problem at all. I received therapy for sensory issues when I was a kid, so I'm going to be even more sympathetic to that than the average person. I receive the order and drive over to the house. I start it down and give the customer a call. Younger woman answers, tells me to come up to the door. I do so and enter the EM, who strangely was fairly attractive and did not have the typical Karen haircut. That's how they get you. All right, EM is enraged marmalade here. Me equals the Muffin Man, and NSL is nice support lady. Me, here's your order, ma'am. Is there anything else I can help you with today? Yes, my son's autistic autistic, and people like you don't understand how difficult it is to raise him. I shouldn't have to pay this much for food. Can you give me a discount? Me, baffled. I'm sorry, ma'am, but the app calculates your order total, not me. It's already been paid for. The EM did not like this answer. Her face changed from a smug smirk into a snarl. I suppose I didn't realize how ridiculous the idea that people pay for their own food is. Well, why don't you pay for it then? I'm not sure if you heard, but there's no way she said it again. But my son is autistic, and it's your fault that he's still hungry. Sorry, ma'am, but that goes against our policy. If I paid for your order, I'd get fired. Good. You're a useless driver anyway. You're disgusting. My son is starving to death. All right. No, I'm sorry. Hold on. Hang on. What? Pause. Time out. You can blame the driver all you want, but you know deep down that if your autistic son is actually starving, that's 100% completely your fault, right? Like, you know that that's completely your fault, honey, okay? So don't go blaming random people you've never met before in your life. And also, don't go demanding any delivery drivers. They give you a discount. Are you high? Are you actually f***ed up right now? How stupid could you be? Actually, no, she's not stupid. She's willfully evil in her own right. My app has a setting that while you're in the process of taking an order to a customer, they'll assign you another one at the same time if there's activity. Thankfully, that saved me here. Can't do that, ma'am. Here's your order. I dropped the food gently on the ground between us and jogged back to my car. She was shouting something unintelligible, so much for not disturbing her autistic son. Well, she's probably lying and there is no kid there, who knows? But I couldn't make out what she was saying. Unsurprisingly, she gave me a 1-star review. You tip online, so I got a small tip. I contacted support about it the next day. Yeah, I had a crazy lady yesterday. Started demanding that I pay for her order and even that I tip her. Really rude. Not sure what the deal was. Oh, I knew what the deal was. That's why I'm here. Which order was it? It was this one at this one. You're the third person to complain about that one. 1 or 2 we take with a grain of salt, but 3, you're probably out. I'll try to get her deactivated. If so, her review will be off your record. Thank you. Appreciate it. I feel like the entire world is better off now that she won't get deliveries from us anymore. But was the cost worth it? That remains to be seen. I'm sure she'll realize really fast that it was not worth being such a douchebag. Now, she does not get to use the app anymore at all. Whoa! Should have paid for her kid's food. He's handicapped. Also pay for his schooling, and his first date, and wedding. Sheesh, you're so cheap. If she was obviously a student, or former student, you should have hit her with, sorry ma'am, can't do that because an Aggie does not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. And am I reading that right? An Aggie? Is that right? It's your fault he's hungry. When she realizes that you've been sneaking into her son's room every night and pumping his stomach. Anyone else notice that she basically used her son's handicap to her benefit? That's called bad parenting, if you ask me. Oh, that's not all that's bad parenting here. There's a lot more going on. She is just a bad parent. When he said the EM was surprisingly attractive, I thought to myself, such beauty wasted.